Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, Deconstructing Narcissism. So, I kind of wanted to think back, go over the moment I found out that my parents had NPD. The moment I found out my parents had narcissistic personality disorder. I had thought for many years that I always had this gaping hole inside me, you know, to where I thought I was defective. I was made to feel defective by my parents. I was attracting all these abusive people. I couldn't do anything right, it seemed, in my life. I was getting fired for jobs. I was daydreaming in school. I was not focused at all. I was constantly on edge, constantly anxious. I mean, I would scour the internet for years trying to figure out what was wrong with me. Why was I feeling this way? Why was I feeling so defective? Why was I feeling so unwanted by people? Why was I attracting these abusive people in my life? Why was I attracting these mean, nasty people in my life? Why did it seem like no matter what I did to try to please my parents, it just never worked out well? And it was only up to around, I started researching more into, I started figuring out, it was after I broke up with an ex, I started figuring out, I started scouring the internet. I started putting the puzzle pieces together. Why were my parents acting like this? Why was I attracting abusive, negative people in my life? Why was I attracting damaged people in my life? And the more I researched, the more I got closer to the truth. And really, it wasn't until around the 25 or 26 where I really started digging in deep, really started trying to find the reason as to why I was feeling like this and why I had felt like this my whole life. And the very first time I started figuring out about narcissism, I watched Ollie Matthews' channel. He's had many channels named Refuge from Narcissism, Narcissistic Resistance, Societal Narcissism. But it wasn't until I came across Ollie Matthews' channel is when I got hooked. And I just couldn't stop watching the videos. I watched a video of baby boomers and narcissism in their generation. I watched videos explaining his life growing up. I watched different videos of narcissistic teachers, how narcissism is run rampant in society. And I compared and contrast how my parents acted to how his parents acted, to people's story. People bring up a really loud car there. I compared and contrasted my stories to his stories, and also watched his videos where other people would send in their stories. And it was just like a light bulb went out. It was like, wow, this sounds exactly, so many of these stories have, they all have like, different, they have, a lot of similarities, but also they have, some things that are different about them. But for the most part, I could completely match up their stories with mine. And I just thought, like, wow, like, this is not my fault. The way I've been feeling, the people that I have attracted in my life, all the things that I've been through, the way I've been treated, this is not my fault. And the more I read articles, and the more I watched his videos, the more I realized that I was groomed for this abuse. I was groomed to be abused by my parents and also by other people in my life. And when you figure this out, I cannot tell you the relief that I felt when I first figured this out. And when the light bulb went off, and I was like, this is why I felt like this my entire life. This is why I've always had this gaping hole inside me. This is why there's always been so much chaos, so much dysfunction in my family and my relationships and my romantic relationships. This is why all of this happened. And around 26, I knew for sure that my parents couldn't be saved, that their relationship, our relationship was never going to be the same, that I needed to cut them off and I needed to move on. And so I think that's pretty much the point. Around the 26 is when I fully realized that this is never going to work out, that my parents are two people that I've been trying to please my entire life. I've been trying to make them love me, I guess, so to speak, my entire life, and it just never worked out. It's just it's always been one problem after another. Even if I didn't do anything wrong, even if I knew I didn't do anything wrong, I was always made to feel guilty in some way. Whether I ate, and I spilled a few crumbs on the floor, or I supposedly woke them up by making too much noise. I was always walking on eggshells around my parents all the time. I was walking around eggshells. And to come to this realization, which I wish I would have came to it earlier, but at least to come to this realization at 26, when a lot of people don't come to this realization till the end of their life. I do feel very, and I'm not really religious, but I guess you could say I do feel blessed in a way to have found out this way ahead of time, compared to a lot of people who find this out much later in life. So yeah, I mean, that was pretty much the moment when I found out that all these things that were happening in my life, all these dysfunctional relationships that I had, all these problems with my parents and school and everything in my life, how it was always falling apart, was due to being raised and groomed by parents who had narcissistic personality disorder. And now at 31 years of age, I'm trying to actually figure out who I am. Like I said, I'm going to a psychologist. He's been helping me little by little. He's been helping me realize that it's not my fault. He's been, helping me take control of my life, not be so hard on myself, recommending books to read. Last week we had a talk. He recommended meditation. So I'm going to try that out this week. I'm going to see what happens. But yeah, it really was awakening. Really was an awakening for me. It was a scary experience, but it was a relief to know that all these years, through all these mental battles and struggles that I faced, none of this was ever my fault. And coming to that realization really just opened my eyes to the world and made me realize that not everybody is out not everybody wants the best for you. Not everybody wants you to succeed. Not everybody's out for your well-being. No matter how many times my parents told me that, I never fully believed it. But I'm really glad that I did manage to come to that experience when I did, and that conclusion. And I'm moving forward past my trauma and figuring out what I want to do with my life. So I hope this video helped you, resonated with you in some way. Feel free, of course, to put a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Put a like if you like this video. And until the next video, guys, take care.